Hello and welcome to a video from filmsbychris.com. That's Chris with the K. I'm Chris with the K. If you go to the website, my website, which there should be a link in the description of the video, at the top of the page there's a link called Matrix. If you click on that, it'll bring you to a chat room where I chat with my viewers. Lately I've been doing videos on web scraping, and I've been discussing that with viewers in the chat room. And someone asked, they wanted to basically go to this site and grab a bunch of proxies from this list. And he wanted to know how to click on a button and all that using curl or wget. Well, you don't click on buttons with curl or wget, you just do requests. But let's look at what we can do and really a better way to make to avoid issues like this, okay? Because some websites, grabbing information from websites should be easy unless the developer makes it difficult, which this website they do, which we'll see in a moment. So first thing we're going to do, we go to the website here. Let's go ahead, open up a developer console in a Chrome-based browser such as Brave. You can hit F12. You can also right-click and do inspect. Once we do that, it will open up your console here. Let's go to network like we always do, and let's just refresh the page. Let's uncheck preserve. Sorry, I had that checked. Refresh that. Only a few things load, right? We have two PNGs, which are just images. We have something that didn't load properly. Some JavaScript might be interesting. Not a whole lot going on in there. But then we also have our main page here, which we can scroll through and look at. So at this point, we're not getting any XHR. So we can click on that, and there's nothing there. Usually that's where you're going to look for your data, your JSON usually, which makes things easy. If you click on that and they don't have anything there, okay, they're making it a little more difficult, but hopefully it's just some HTML that we can grep through and cut and stuff. So let's go ahead and just grab the URL, go to our shell. Let's type in wget dash lowercase q, capital O dash, and we'll put in the URL. We've done this a number of times. We're going to do this. It's going to dump the HTML from that page to our terminal here. Okay, it's kind of messy. There's a lot of stuff on one line, but are we getting the information we want? So let's go back to the web page. We can look at one of these IP addresses. So we have 103. Let's just grep for 103. So we'll run that same command. We will grep for 103. Okay, we got some output, so at least we know the number 103 is in there. At this point, we can work through this. We could do something like use sed, something like this, and we can say, take our tags and say new line, and then the tag. That will help at least put the tags a little bit. You know, everything was on one line. If we go back to our web browser here and we actually look, if we hit Control U, you can see here the page doesn't look very long. That's because we have a lot of stuff all on one line right here. You see this? It just goes out and out. They're just doing that to make it harder to read. But we can go through it with grep and sed and awk and stuff like that, and we can look at it. For right now, let's go back to the terminal, and if we actually just click on this here, it actually pretty formats it. There's actually also programs out there that will pretty format stuff for you, but our web browser is doing it here for us. So this is the same thing we were just looking at where everything was on one line, but it's spread out. And before you pick around on this website too much, let me say it's easy to get the IP addresses, but they're hiding the port numbers from you. So again, another quick thing to look at, as I've mentioned before, would be W3M. I can say W3M. I can say, well, we'll just dump it to the page, to the terminal here. Let's go ahead and grab our URL again, right here. We'll paste that in there, and we'll dump it to the page. And if we look through here, you can see the IP addresses are there, but the port numbers are missing. So this is that same web page just in our shell, but all the port numbers are missing. So after looking at this for a couple minutes, scrolling through, we can simply say, first of all, you see this right here. We see a bunch of random little characters set as variables with some numbers. And then those, so like if I was to select this, you can see it highlights it here. It's not only taking that, but then it's doing some math on it here and putting it in another variable. Whenever you see this, you're going to go, okay, this website is trying to make things difficult, because I can now take that and I will copy and I will search through this page for that. And when we get there, let's make this full screen. I know the text is small. I'm not sure how to increase the font in here. But basically, if you look here, you can see an IP address. And then for the port number, they're giving it this equation here. So basically, they have their own little, I don't know if it's encryption or just encoding. They're doing a bunch of math on it to try to hide the IP address, which is now being generated with JavaScript. So this isn't, the issue isn't that they're using JavaScript, is that they're trying to make it difficult for you to grab the information. They're spending more time designing ways to hide stuff from you than just making a good program, right? So how do we avoid this? Well, you could use JavaScript in the browser to strip things. You can use programs that run the browser in the background and generate stuff. You could backwards engineer. You can look at this math. You could figure out what they're doing here and then in any language you want, recreate it. But there's an easier way. If we were to just take one of these IP addresses and go to Google, and well, I have to go to Google, otherwise it's going to try to go to that IP address, or whatever search engine you use, run that, and it's going to give up a list of stuff. And you can start looking at these, and I can even add the word proxy, right? Because that's what we're looking for. Now, when I did this, you can see there's lots of sites that have this IP address listed. And when I first searched one of the IP addresses, one of the top 3 pages that came up was this GitHub page. Let's have a look at this. Let's make that full screen. Hey, it's a list of IPs and port numbers, and it's labeled under proxy HTTP. If we actually go to the top page of this project, oops, I went to the creators project. Let's look at the top page of this project. What is this? It's been updated. This one was updated 19 minutes ago, 8 hours ago. What is this? This is a collection from a list of proxies available on the internet to be displayed, and they're doing it just to make it for easy access. So they have HTTP proxies, they have SOCKS 4 and SOCKS 5. But again, I can go in here. I can now say, okay, here's the list. I can get that raw. I can just right click and say, copy a clean link of that raw link. And then if I go to my shell, I can just wget dash lowercase q, capital O dash, and I can give it that URL I just copied, and there's a list of proxies. It's updated every hour. Don't recreate work. If someone's already done it, you don't have to worry about redoing it yourself unless you're just, the fun of doing it yourself. So this was really convenient because I found somebody who's already pulling these proxies from someplace and putting them in a nice list for us. But also just doing that search on Google or whatever search engine you use, you could find other proxy sites that list proxies that you might be able to scrape from easier. So if there's a site that's providing information and they're making it purposely difficult for you to get the information you want, just grab some of that unique information, search for it, and see if there's a better website. Don't bang your head against the wall trying to undo all the confusion they've put into their site. So that's my advice in this video. Basically is what it comes down to is if there's a website that's making it difficult, find another website if you can. Otherwise, you will have to, find a way to reverse engineer their code. Is what it comes down to. And yeah, you're not going to want to do something like, well, let's open up this again, go to console, right? So you don't need to go, figure out how to click on this and then click on that. The information's there. We can simply do something like this. This is some code I wrote. Put it in the web browser here. It's going to look for things with this class, and then it's going to loop through them and print out the text. And there we have the IP addresses and the port numbers. I can bump this up to 500. Also, this site does have a little captcha here every once in a while, which is also, to prevent you from scraping. So that could become issues if you continue using this site. Let's go back to the console. Let's run that command again. And look, I have now 500 or so proxies and their IPs and ports. So you could do that, and this is again JavaScript. You can create a plugin for your web browser, or there's tools to do it from the shell, even though they're still technically running a web browser in the background. But again, you don't even need to write these 4 lines of code to do this because someone else has already done it for you, and you can just pull down that text from that GitHub page. So don't overcomplicate things. Again, if you're looking for something, see if there's a better site to find it. And you know what? If you're the only one that does it, maybe you could be the nice person to post that information on your Git site or wherever you have things posted so that other people don't have to bang their heads against the wall. You could be the person providing that information to other people. That's it for this video. Please visit filmsbychris.com. Again, that's Chris with a K. There's a link in the description. At the top of the page, there is the Matrix link if you want to come chat with me and other viewers and help solve problems like this together. I hope that you have a great day.